It is the Executive Vice President of your Dallas Cowboys, Stephen Jones. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good. We've been kicking this around most of the day, and I know we got to hear from some of the players. I would love your takeaway on this as well, is exceedingly close with an opportunity to win on the road against the team with the best record in football. So that's a positive, or do you just look at it as we had a chance to win and we didn't, so that's a negative?
Yeah, I look at this as, there's a lot of football to be played. Obviously, we had some great opportunities there throughout the game. I mean, we had started off with Sam Williams with the sack fumble that came right back to the quarterback. Had another fumble in the red zone, with Swift that went right back to him. And then, of course, the butt fumble at the end. And, we were just right there on the verge. We had the long drive there, that stalled out after a sack when we had 1st and 10 from the 30 inside of 2 minutes. And then our defense did a great job of managing the clock and got down there and gave ourselves a chance to win. Obviously, we didn't get it done. It's a game of inches. We had opportunities, but hats off to the Eagles. But, this is a long journey, the NFL, and a season. And we've got a lot of football left to play. I think we continue to get better. That's a really good football team we were up against. A tough environment up there in Philly. There's no excuses. They won the game, and hats off to them. And we have to continue to work to get better. But there's a lot of good things that come from that in terms of, obviously Dak and CD are really getting a connection going. There's a lot of things we can improve upon. And, we just got to make some plays. They do a really good job on their 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts that a lot of people are trying to figure out how to stop them on. But we just have to continue to execute, have to continue to get better as a team. I think the body language on our team is good. I think we're a confident group, and we just got to go continue to improve and, hopefully peak at the right time, which is as we move forward, continue to get better and win a game like that we didn't get done last night.
It does seem like this was another game with your preferred offensive line that maybe is not playing to the level we would have expected at the beginning of the year. Particularly, it felt like a really tough day for Terrence Steele yesterday, did it not?
He's a young player, and, obviously they've got some really good pass rushers. And, those are things we have to look at as well in terms of, I know at times we chipped and gave him help, but, when you got guys like Riddick and Sweat that line up in those wide nines, you've got to understand that they're going to give, our guys some troubles. But I think Terrence will learn from that. He's such a focused individual. He does things the right way, and I think he'll get better from that.
What you're talking about there, Steven, is sometimes since the Rangers just won the World Series, sometimes a good pitcher just doesn't have it on that day. They're fighting and they're trying, but they just don't have it. That seems to happen at times with offensive linemen where maybe, I don't know if it's a loss of confidence in the game, but can you kind of talk about football where an offensive lineman, maybe a couple plays don't go his way, and then to try to fight that feeling of like, I'm effing up right now for my team. I gotta do better. And just the same thing as a pitcher. I'm on the mound trying to do the same thing, but you kind of have some negative thoughts in your head.
Analogy, and I think what it goes to in football more so is just the matchup. And, throughout my 30 years of being in football, people used to say certain players would get the Eric Williams flu. And, certainly you go against Zach Martin will tell you go against an Aaron Donald, you're going to have your hands full. And, I think it's just matchups. And then, going in, it's going to be a tough matchup in terms of your skill set versus his. And then a couple plays don't go your way. And I'm sure, you just got to have a strong mind to sit in there and keep firing at them. And, like I said, I think we can do things to help that as well. Obviously we're trying to, when you keep a guy in to chip and that type of thing, it's one less guy out in the route that can make a play for you. But those are all things that, we'll learn from in terms of getting better as a team. You just got to know that, the Eagles are going to, they're one of the top teams in the league. We feel like we are too. It was just one of those nights where we didn't quite get it done. We were right there knocking on the door and had our opportunities, but didn't quite get it done.
One of my huge positives from the game is the development of Jake Ferguson. I know that's not his first good game of the year, but it just seems like as you guys have lost Schultz, moved on, that Jake Ferguson keeps getting better and better as the season's progressing.
Yeah, we really feel good about that position. I think Jake's just doing an amazing job. His run after catch is really becoming, it's not a surprise anymore. It's just consistently good. And so I think, really like that tight end position. I think Schoonmaker made a great catch there. We can do a little better job executing that play in terms of making sure he's in the end zone when he makes a big catch like that. But really like that position. Another guy who's coming along good, obviously, is Tolbert. And I think after a tough drop early, Gallup responded well, making some big catches and obviously drawing that PI call, there at the end of the game was nice. So, and of course, obviously Tolbert, I just think he continues to develop. Dak's getting confidence in him. So, there's a lot of positives about our offense. Obviously, Dak himself's playing at a really high level. We protected the ball well. I don't even know that we put the ball in harm's way in terms of the way we look at it from a coaching staff standpoint. So, we protected it well. We had our shots to get the ball, and the ball just didn't bounce our way. But we have to continue to learn from this. We can grow from this. We have to give the Eagles credit, but we've got to. I like this team. I like our personnel. I like the way we're playing the game, and I think we'll respond.
Now, when you're talking about some of the really positive things about Michael Gallup and the development of Tolbert, I'm kind of curious how it balances all out and if that's come at the expense of Brandon Cooks at all, because it seemed like he was picking it up the last couple of weeks. He was a non-factor yesterday, and it feels like he's had a disappointing season for somebody who I thought was going to have really big things this year.
Well, I think sometimes you don't necessarily see on the stat sheet or the target sheet what he's doing. I mean, when he lines up out there, he's got people's attention. Everybody knows he can run by you. I mean, you turn on the tape and watch it, and they're bailing real quick in terms of not wanting him to run by you. Obviously, he didn't get the targets and the touches last night, but he had a really nice game the game before. And when you got the four receivers and the tight ends and you got Pollard, not everybody's going to get the optimal touches with each game. And that's a good problem to have in terms of, especially when you got CD getting, the number of targets and touches he's getting, which he's, that connection between him and Dak are certainly good. And when you got a number one like CD, he deserves to have those targets and those touches, and he's certainly making the most of them. And, you can always walk out of the stadium and say, boy, I wish Tony would have touched it half a dozen more times and wish we'd have gotten Cooks a few more targets. But, the other guys are doing their job, and they're deserving the chances that they get. And she said Ferguson's really stepping up in a big way for us. I know Schoonmaker, given the opportunity, he's making doing some of the dirty work in terms of the blocking. We've just got a good group that I think, in my opinion, just has playing the right way and should just get better with each week. And obviously we're going to have to do that if we want to get to where we want to be.
Now, with all that in mind, I was hoping you could tell us anything about Martavis Bryant and if he's coming in to work out tomorrow, somebody who's been out of the NFL for the last 5 years.
Yeah, he'll be in this afternoon, and we'll look at him. And he's been out of the league. He played in the USFL or XFL. Forgive me for which one it was. We've got about 3 or 4 leagues now, I think, going on in the off season. But he's a guy who got caught up, obviously, in his suspension, but it's a guy that's a big, strong, fast receiver that we'll certainly take a look at.
Now, one of the things I was curious your takeaway yesterday was, did it feel like a penalty-happy referee crew at all? Or if not, what led to so many penalties for the Cowboys? I know the Eagles had that problem as well.
Well, it was, what you want is consistency, and I guess you could say it was consistent. I don't know, sitting on the competition committee that, that's not, necessarily what you want to see is 20 penalties in a ball game. But, they were pretty, I don't think you blame the refs for anything here. I mean, sure, the Eagles had some calls they didn't love, and, we had some calls that felt like could have been called and had some that we felt like shouldn't have been called on us, but that's the NFL. And, they're calling the game, when they see a foul, they're going to, in their mind, they're calling it, but 20's a lot, but, that's part of it. And it wasn't, seemed like it was pretty consistent in terms of they were even handed.
Since you are on the competition committee, I know we've asked you this about it before, but you saw it again in person. Still good with the tush push or the brotherly shove or whatever you want to call it?
Of course not. I'm against it. We're playing the team twice a year that probably does it the very best, and they've perfected it. I'm saying that in jest. There's no injury data or anything that would suggest that, it's a bad play, and so you have to, that's the things that we're looking for. You always look at it in terms of a play like that. You look at it every year. I know we'll give it another good going over in terms of making sure the injury data is not an issue, and continue to look at the way it affects ball games. But hats off to the Eagles. They do it the very best, and they've obviously worked on it and perfected it. And it's got a bunch of top defensive coordinators and head coaches trying to figure out the best way to stop it, because obviously they're very efficient at it.
I was wondering about Leighton Vander Esch. I know he can come back for this upcoming week. I didn't know if there was an update on Vander Esch and his progress of coming back this year.
Yeah, he's still, I would say that's still a question mark as to when or will he come back this year. I think that's a work in progress in terms of his injury, but it certainly won't be this week or, for that matter, probably in the next couple of weeks.
And then I was going to ask you this question because off of the Vander Esch injury, which happened weeks ago, Micah Parsons obviously moved around a lot more. It's kind of been really fun to watch how he's impacting the game from different situations, but it's given, I feel like, the opportunity for Sam Williams to get some more reps at defensive end. I'm a big fan of his. I like what he can do for you. What have you seen from him from the start of the year and now pretty much at the halfway point of the season on his progression?
A little bit of it falls into the line we were talking about on targets to some of our weapons on offense. I mean, we've got a good group of defensive linemen there, and I like you, I'm a big fan of Sam Williams. I mean, all he's done is block a punt last week, played gunner, running, 4.45, I think at 6'5" and 260 pounds, and playing the gunner role, and he's proud to do it. And then obviously comes up with a big sack fumble, giving us an opportunity to make a play. And I think his skill set is really good, has a bunch of upside, and as he gets more opportunities, I think all you'll do is see this guy make more plays. Speaking of Mike, I agree with you. He just keeps lining up in different places. He almost made an unbelievable play on himself blocking a punt there late in the game, and certainly had a chance on that hip fumble, as we like to call it. It almost landed right in his hands. And, Mike, in his history as a running back, he might have taken that one to the house. So he's we've got a good group of guys over there, and all of them probably deserve to have more snaps in terms of that second group of guys like Fowler and guys like Armstrong and Sam. They're all doing a great job for us, and I think when given the opportunities, they make plays.
Speaking of Micah, I'm not saying you're saying this at all. This is my opinion from watching all season and going back to last year. Is there any recourse if you feel like he's continually being held and the calls aren't being made? Do you submit video footage or anything like that? Can you walk us through what happens if you feel that's the case?
Yeah, the head coaches, they come up with their tape that they send in if they so desire to do so. And, it's after the fact, so there's really not a lot you can do, but you do sometimes want clarification on why something was called, why something wasn't called. And certainly I'm no different than anybody else. Feel like sometimes it's got to be extreme for them to call a hold on Micah. I think just because that offensive lineman's got to do something. And I feel like, I'm sure a lot of people feel like their best pass rushers get held more than what's called. But, the guys, the officials do a great job out there in general. It's a tough job, tough positions they're put in. But there is a system in place where, our head coaches take the tape after a day like today. They send it in and they walk through it with Walt, who's head of officiating up there, and he can walk them through, if they felt like it was officials should have called something, shouldn't have called something, or, obviously justify why, in the officiating crew's mind, why they felt like it was called correctly, which is, it's a work in progress. It's never going to be perfect, as we know, and but I do admire and respect all our officials in the NFL. It's a difficult job, and everybody's always going to have an opinion, and a bigger opinion when it doesn't go your way than when it does, and that's part of it most of the time. I think most people will tell you these things even out. You just hope there's a good consistency, which usually there is, and like I said, my hat's off to the officials in the NFL. They have a hard job, but overall, I think they're trained well, and I think they do a good job.
Appreciate it very much, good sir. We will catch up with you again next Monday.
Thanks a lot, guys.